Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Welcome to the Pension Fund Q&A conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Later, we will conduct a question-and-answer session, and instructions will be given at that time. If you should require assistance during the call, please press star, then 0. As a reminder, today's conference is being recorded. I would now like to turn the conference over to your host, Mr. Jim Hamlet. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator, and welcome everybody. I'm delighted you've joined us today. For the next hour, I will be your host for this question and answer session. It's designed to keep you informed about the pension fund and answer as best we can any questions that you might have of us. Our last call program, if you may recall, was 6 months ago, and much has occurred since then. I hope you will find this session very informative and helpful. As is our custom, several of my colleagues are sitting with me today, who I will call on in the event that they may be best prepared to answer your question. I would introduce all of, at the table this afternoon, Duncan Draper, our Vice President and Treasurer, David Stone, our Vice President for Investments, Michael Porter, Director of Health Services, Eugene Fisher, Vice President of Employer Services, and Sandra Michael Bowers, our Vice President for Member Services. As already indicated, the session is being recorded and will be posted on our website early next week. And if you are not able to ask a question or you run out of time, please feel free to send it to us at our website, PFCC1 at pensionfund.org. We'll open up for questions in just a few moments, but I do have a few comments, particularly after 2 years of preparation. On June 1, the Pension Fund implemented a new data system designed to give staff additional tools with which to serve and to provide participants with online access to their accounts and employers online access to manage employer participation. The new system functioned generally well throughout the month, but at near the end of the month, we discovered a fatal flaw in the new pension payment process that caused us to revert to the old system and use June 1 payments so that pensioners would have funds in their account on July 1 as expected. Our plan was to provide the correct pension amount on July 3, coupled with the electronic recovery of the July 1 transaction. The plan seemed simple enough, but following implementation of it, we discovered some additional problems related to tax withholding, health care payments, and a few account numbers. The best laid plans simply did not remediate the initial problem and indeed caused additional unintended pensioner impact. For all of these issues, we humbly apologize. August 1 payments went much more smoothly, although not completely without challenge. Actions to resolve residual issues from both the July 1 and August 1 transactions are nearly complete, and we anticipate that September payments will function accurately. If you tried to call or email our offices in early July and found our responsiveness lacking, I apologize. With more than 6,000 persons receiving pension benefits affected by the July 1 challenges, our call center of 5 incredibly talented and committed colleagues were simply overwhelmed with the volume of calls and emails. They, and indeed most of our staff, have worked many extra hours over the last couple of months in our efforts to serve everyone and remediate the challenges. Quarterly statements, of course, were sent out late. They were sent out for most participants in August, early August. I hope you will find the combined account format more efficient and effective. Early feedback has been favorable, but we will continue to tweak the report to further streamline the process for future periods. I do want to share with you that effective with the second quarter reporting, the Pension Fund implemented a daily compounding system on all TDRA, BA, and IRA accounts. This marginally will enhance the return that you receive on your accounts. Interest rates for the last quarter of the year will be announced on or before September 18. So watch for the announcement on our website. Some of you may have health care coverage through Churchwide Health Care. Rates for 2014 will be announced in early September. While they have not been finalized, I can say that we expect Medicare secondary care plans, those that serve those who are already in Medicare age brackets, will remain about the same in 2013. Active plans should see single-digit increases. Of course, if one has hit one of those magic birthdays ending in 0 or 5 this year, your actual rate of increase next year will be greater due to the age banding of rates. We presently do not anticipate any significant change in the health care coverage program for 2014. Through the first 6 months, the pension fund had good investment returns and outperformed benchmarks, which we evaluate performance. It's too early to extrapolate or forecast what that may mean for consideration of special apportionment and good experience credits. As you can know from watching the markets, they have become a bit choppy. We expect that to continue throughout the rest of the year. But with continued slow progress in the economy, I expect that markets will remain fairly strong at year end. When we announced this call section, we invited a number of folks to send in questions. I will intersperse some of those if we have lulls in the question and answer period that we are now ready to begin. Operator, let's open up for questions.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, please press star, then 1 on your touch-tone phone. You will hear a tone indicating you have been placed in queue, and a voice prompt on your phone line will indicate when your line has been opened. You may remove yourself from the queue at any time by pressing the star key followed by the digit 2. If you're using a speakerphone, please pick up the handset before pressing the corresponding digits. Once again, please press star 1 at this time if you'd like to ask a question. And again, that is star 1 for your questions. We do have a question. I'll open that line.
Jim, this is
yes.
Dinsmore. This is Dinsmore Nisbet calling.
How are you, Dinsmore?
Well, I am better, thank you very much. I just my knee is healing nicely. I'm now graduated from a walker to a crutch. Okay.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I've got one question concerning the benefit accumulation account.
Mm-hmm.
That has been paying ever since I can remember, like 2%.
At least this year. For the most part, this year it has, yes.
Yeah. Well, I've got approximately...
Dinsmore, before you go any further, let's not have any financial information or personal information because this is a nationwide public call. I just want to caution you, okay? It must be you need to ask a generic kind of question.
Well, okay, but then the interest rate will remain the same for the benefit accumulation account for the foreseeable future. Is that correct?
We will announce the fourth quarter rates in mid-September, but I can't predict what they will be. But personally, this is just a personal opinion. There hasn't been much change in the economy to affect our thinking.
Okay. Well, I wonder about when will we know how much we can withdraw from our tax-deferred accounts?
Are you asking about your minimum required minimum?
Yeah.
Okay, the required minimum. I'm going to ask Sandra Michael Bauer to answer that.
Okay, if you are 70 and a half this year or older, we would have sent you a letter in January to tell you how much that required minimum distribution is. If you have misplaced the letter, we'll be happy to send you another one. If you have not taken enough out of your tax-deferred account this year to meet the minimum distribution, we go ahead and make the distribution the first week of December so that you will be in compliance with the law.
Okay, well, I have not received such a letter at this point, so I would like very much for you to send me a letter, okay?
All right.
We will do so.
Pardon?
We will do that.
Okay, fine. I'd appreciate that very much. And let's see, one more question I was going to have. Oh my goodness. Well, I can't think of it, but.
Well, Desmore, if you want to let somebody else ask a question, you can come back and ask more questions if you think of it.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Jim. I hope to be back in touch before. This is an hour long, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, by the way, Jim, I don't know what I'm going to say. I think the new system is excellent.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
It's very understandable. It's very plausible. It's very efficiently done. And you have a summary sheet there where you summarize, you total all accounts. And it's just, it has been, to me, so much simpler to, calculate what I've got in the pension fund. I just wanted to compliment you on it. Your labor was worthwhile.
Thanks. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Good to talk with you, Desmond.
And just another reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 at this time. Again, that is star 1. And we do have another question. I'll open that line.
Oh, Jim, this is Spelman down in Palm Bay, Florida.
How are you?
Oh, if I did any better, that's all we could talk about. We finally got some rain. If you're having plenty of it up there, we can use some more. It looks like other parts of Florida are getting it, but we're not right in this particular place. At this point,
well, I wish we had some to send you. We're pretty dry here, too.
Yeah. Other parts are, too. I just wondered, is it possible for us to get copies of the board minutes? Are they published?
It is not our custom to publish the board minutes.
Okay. Now, The second thing is, I'm just wondering if is there any way to figure out what the how much that we send in actually goes toward our pension? Because if you give to the Salvation Army and say they say 92% of it goes to where you've given it to, and the other 8% is administration. How is there any way to get at that?
Well, let me divide the question into two parts, if I may.
Okay.
If the question is how much of one's pension dues goes to pension, the answer is 100%.
Okay.
If you're asking from a gifting point of view, how much do my gifts go to their intended purpose? The answer there is essentially 100%.
Okay. But then how do you pay the administrative costs? Where does the money come from that?
Administrative costs come generally from the earnings on the funds that we manage.
Okay. Now, what were the administrative costs last year? As I look through the back in the paper here, in the booklet, and thank you for that booklet. It's very good. There, this is the 2012. I look through there, and I don't necessarily, I can't pull out those things.
Well, we charge basically 50 basis points, or 0.5% on the assets that we manage to provide for our budget. We actually for operating costs, we're actually about 32 basis points.
But now you use a basis point. How is that different from the percentage?
It's a basis point is 1/100%. So 32 is 0.32%.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like pretty good there, because I was looking at this August assembly of people we had in administration there. Is there a figure as to what that costs to the pension fund staff? Over here, that's a good-looking picture on page 19.
Well, I right off the top of my head, I do not know what the total cost of salaries and benefits is.
Okay. Then, was that published online that you can get that? I know that Palm Bay now we've become so open down here that you can get everybody's. You can almost get their laundry bill.
Yeah, we do not publish salaries.
Okay. At that point, then what projects are we assisting the election seminary with now? I noticed that was one of the points that you made over on page. I don't see a number on that page. But then,
well, the answer is that we have a small partnership with LTS focusing on leadership development.
Okay, I just wondered if there's anything in particular that was coming out of that. And
I think it's still in development at this point.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a start on some of my questions there. And,
okay.
It's always good to hear from you.
Good to talk with you.
And I'll sign off for now, but keep listening.
Okay, thanks so much.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, that is star 1 on your telephone keypad if you'd like to ask a question. We'll take the next question.
I'd like to. This is for Michael Porter. This is Claire
and
Berry.
your name, please? Your name, please?
Claire Berry, out in San Diego, California.
Sure. Hi, Claire.
And, this is just to. You can't answer it all, but how much is Obamacare affecting our insurance?
As far as rates, or it's affecting us in a bunch of different ways. I mean, rate-wise, it really has no effect on us because we've already implemented most of the changes and have already made cost adjustments for those. And plus, most of the changes that they mandated, we already had in place anyway. So being a self-insured health plan, we already had to follow federal laws. So really, the two changes that really were minor were the adding dependents up to age 26 and some of the expansion on the wellness benefits really were not that much, probably about maybe 1 to 2% cost-wise, but really minor. Some of the other things, not being able to qualify for getting access to the federal subsidies for our membership, that's probably more of a concern, but we don't know what the costs are on that yet. So we're right now kind of in a we've made all the changes that we need to make for 2014. We're in good shape financially, and we, like the rest of the country, are kind of waiting to see what happens on October 1st.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome, Claire.
And we'll take the next question.
Hi, this is Susan Cockrell in Texas. I'm wanting just to ask if it's possible to roll over other retirement plans into our pension plan.
I'm going to ask Sandra to answer that.
Currently, you can roll over, if you have a 403B, a plan, you can roll it into our 403B. Mm-hmm. You can roll over a 401K into our 403B. If you have a 457 government plan, that's another one that can be rolled into the 403B. Currently, you cannot roll funds into the pension plan itself, but we do have these other programs that can receive rollovers.
Mm-hmm. And who would we talk to about that?
You can just call our toll-free number, and one of the member services people will answer the call.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your...
And just another reminder, that is star 1 if you would like to ask a question. And we'll go to the next question.
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. My name is Glenna Rice, and I live in Memphis. And I just want everybody that is associated with the pension fund to know how much I appreciate their God-driven management of the resources that we send to you for safekeeping. And I guess that's all I've got to say. I just want to thank the board of directors and the employees of the company, and how much you make is of no concern to me because you do so well, and I'm so appreciative of what you do.
Ms. Rice, thank you so much for your gracious comment. We are honored to serve you and all that are participants in the pension plan.
Well, thank you so much. I guess that's all I've got to say. Bye.
Thank you.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, that is star one for your questions. And we have another question pop up. I will open that line.
Hey, Jim, and the rest of you up here, this is Georgia Meese. And I want to second Mrs. Rice's comment because you all have done fabulous work for all of us. And with what I got in my pension, that I'm getting now in my pension, I plan to sponsor several of our young women at church to go to the quadrennial.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
So,
thank you.
You have a nice day, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Currently, there are no signals in queue, but I'll give that reminder. It's star one on your touch-tone phone to ask a question.
Operator, while we're waiting, I'm going to ask Duncan Draper to respond to a question that was emailed to us about the data system that we've just implemented, and it was worded this way. I know the pension fund has been updating its system and has talked about providing online access for members to view their account information. Can you give us an update on this progress, and when do you plan to roll out an online portal for members?
Thanks, Jim. This is considered the main feature for our members and therefore a very critical component. Obviously, the challenges that have come out of the conversion have delayed our ability to get to this point. We really wanted to stabilize the system first, and then we would then start working on this portal process that would give our members access. We anticipated it would take about 60 days from the point that the conversion was complete to the point that we would roll that out. And I would expect, we have already received an initial layout of that format. However, I mean, we have not even really started testing that. I would say reasonably another 60 days may be required before we're able to get to that document. So I'm saying sometime end of September, mid-October would be the timeline that I'm hopeful. I'm hesitant to commit to that date, but that's our hope to be able to deliver it in that timeline.
Okay. Thank you, Duncan. Operator?
We do have another question. I'll open that line.
Hello, and God bless you this afternoon. This is the first time that I've actually been able to participate on this teleconference, and I just want to let you know how much I appreciate this opportunity to be able to be on the line, you know, the use of technology in this way. And so I just want to say thank you. I happen to have gotten, when I was in seminary years ago, I signed up for the pension fund, and I've since now working in a nonprofit in a ministry capacity, and have another, retirement plan, a 403B with that one, but I've still maintained my small one. I'm Rosetta Robinson, my small one with the pension fund. But I do appreciate this opportunity to be able to listen and hear and communicate with you all in such a way that can involve any member who wants to call in and ask a question. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
And just another reminder, that is star one if you would like to ask a question. And we do have another question.
Raymond Williams. Two related questions. One regarding the data system. As I understand it, the mix-up there was totally in reportage to members and did not affect the investments of the pension fund at all. Is that correct? And the second question is, what is our current vested percentage?
The answer to your first question is that it was only in reporting and payment. It had nothing to do with account balances or any investments that we have behind them. The current vesting percentage, the best, I don't have it exactly, but I think it's somewhere approximately 130%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, that is star one for your question. Jim, there are currently no signals in queue.
Okay. Let me ask another question that came to us by way of email. This is one that I received just yesterday, and it came from a person who wanted to have an explanation of the deposits. The person has both a pension plan and a TSA and perhaps a VA, and all had the distribution on a particular in July and August, and it came as a single transaction rather than as separate transactions for each. And the question was, do we anticipate reverting back to single transactions per account, or do we continue to do this as a single transaction?
Jim, I'll take that. This is Duncan Draper again. It is our plan that to combine payments into one distribution at each time. So at least I'm not aware of any request for that. It would take quite a bit of undoing of the system to revert back to singular transactions by account level to go back to the way we were doing it before. So at this point, to be clear, we do not have any plans to reverse that approach.
Let me do a follow-up question in that regard, and will there be some sort of reporting process out to individuals so that they can have the detail when it's done electronically?
Jim, again, we had not planned for that. I think we could do that, but what I would probably suggest, if you're talking about each time that we send a transaction that way, no, there's no real opportunity to do that into the bank. Often these are accounts that go into a bank account, and you're limited over how much information you can send in that, attach that to that payment. So there's no way to do it through the bank file. If you're talking about sending a separate message to the member, I guess we'd have to look at that. I don't know what would be involved to do that.
Okay. So that's a future consideration question. Operator, anybody in queue?
Currently there are no signals, but I'll remind everyone that is star one if you would like to ask a question.
Jim, while we're waiting for the next question, Gene just pointed out to me in a very good comment. When we get to online member management solutions, people would be able to access their accounts and be able to see the information as it would relate to their TD or their BA accounts. It wouldn't really show anything in their pension plan distributions, but it would show on those other account balance type of plans exactly what the transactions amounts were that went into those.
Okay, thank you. Operator?
Still no signals in queue, but I'll remind everyone that it's star one. And we do have a question. I'll open that line.
Okay.
Hi, this is Bill Kozner. I'm calling from the desert in Southern California.
How are you?
Well, I guess getting along here. There's been a lot of news in the lately about pension funds in cities and going broke and other pension funds going down, and I know ours is solid. What's the difference between our pension fund and, say, the one in Detroit? If you can explain that to me.
Well, let me explain. I think this gets into some philosophical issues, but let me explain what the difference is between what we do and what businesses and government has done over the years. With respect to government plans, particularly in their contracts with their labor force and often collective bargaining, they've developed benefits programs, but they were never really funded by taxes on a pay-as-you-go basis. So the assets, they were putting some assets in, but not sufficient amount to actually provide actuarially for the benefit. The second part has been that they have tended to constrain how funds are invested and done that internally. For-profit folks, government or the for-profit folks have often put in enough money in their pension plans, but ERISA puts limits on funding and how the corporations are to manage the assets. And frankly, for-profits manage pension assets for the benefit of the company rather than the individual. That's my personal perspective.
Jim, this is Duncan. I would just add one other thing. Specific to the Detroit pension issues, I was just reading some articles over the last couple of days about their situation. There's another major difference between what Detroit's pension plans look like and ours in one regard, and that was their discount rate, and I'll explain that in a second, was 8%. Ours is 5%. What that simply means is that the people who manage that pension plan expects or requires, if you will, an 8% return on their investments every year to essentially break even. Ours is 5%. So as you can imagine, as markets have declined or become more irregular or more volatile, and earnings are more difficult to achieve, we have a 3% benefit, if you will, of not needing to retain that for our funding to continue to stay solid. So I think that's a very big difference, and you would find that fairly common in some of these big pension plans where they've not changed their discount rate, and they had, in current times at least, overly optimistic return expectations on those funds. And when they don't make that number, obviously that results in a further decline in the value of that fund in terms of percentage of funding.
Yeah. And I just simply add that the pension fund historically has functioned in the 4.5% and 5% discount range. It's been very conservative over the years. And when the markets have been very favorable, that becomes the catalyst for special apportionment. So the good investment returns are turned back to individuals in the form of increasing their benefits, recognizing that the plan is very conservative.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, that is *1 for your questions. And we have another question.
Okay.
Oh, Jim, this is Richard Spellman again down in sunny Palm Bay, Florida. I heard
Hi, Richard.
Clary and Claire's way out on the west coast, not the west coast of Florida, but California.
Okay.
Is Ruth Wallace there? I want her to tell about the fine program that she administers there on behalf of all of us for ministerial relief and supplemental gifts and things of that nature. I think that's very important, and we all to pat ourselves on the back. We've got Ruth and all of you all down there, but these folks are being taken care of. So if Ruth's there, I'd like to hear from her.
Well, Ruth is not. She is traveling. She's on the West Coast as well.
Oh. Okay.
And so she's not able to do that. But the ministerial relief program it really has been from the earliest days of the pension fund. We were the Board of Ministerial Relief. and that relief program continues to provide assistance to retirees and students and people who are disabled in a variety of ways. So we're honored to do that. Last year we spent roughly $1.5 million in relief benefits.
I think it's great, and you did well. But Ruth, it's always good to hear Ruth's voice. And Jim, while I've got you, could you comment on? We do a lot of other things down there, like spousal pensions and dependent parent, disability, could you lift up those a minute?
Actually, you just did, Richard. That's all part of the pension plan in terms of the benefits that are there. The spouse pensions and benefits for children in the event of a death and education benefits, disability as well. That's all built into the pension plan that was designed back in 1931.
Okay, you're on a roll. Keep going.
No, I think I'm done.
Okay, me too. But thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
And again, that is star one if you would like to ask a question. And Jim, currently there are no signals in queue.
Okay, I'm going to pose another question to Sandra. The question is, if I begin to collect my Social Security, does it affect my pension?
Well, no, it does not. You may begin receiving your Social Security at the age of your choice, depending, as long as you are old enough, according to Social Security. You do not have to take your pension at the same time. However, if you take your Social Security at what Social Security calls the normal retirement age, you can continue to work and earn salary. It does not affect your Social Security payment. When you begin receiving your pension plan pension, we do not reduce your pension because you're receiving Social Security. You get both. You get Social Security and your retirement pension.
Okay, great. Thank you. Operator?
And currently there are no signals in queue, but I'll remind everyone that it's star one. There are no signals in queue.
Okay. Well, then, why don't I make some final comments, and we will close off for the day. I want to thank everyone who's offered questions and comments or listened in. I trust that we've responded in a manner that is helpful. Our goal is always to care for the resources that have been entrusted to us for your benefit in a prudent and thoughtful manner, taking care to address the unique requirements and risks associated with each program. We take great satisfaction that during the conversion to our new data system, account balances were never in question. Transaction and reporting capacity has been a challenge, as we've already talked about, one that we continue our efforts to fully resolve. But throughout this process, no one has been at risk of losing anything. Know that all of us, staff and directors alike, will continue to focus our energy towards maintaining the pension fund's financial strength, even as we seek ways to serve more effectively and broadly in the life of the church. We thank you for the privilege of serving you and for your interest today. We will schedule another forum when we believe we have important information to share. Until then, please call or email us with any further questions you may have. It is our great honor to serve you. God's blessings to you all. Good day.
And that does conclude our conference for today. Thank you for your participation in using AT&T Teleconference Service. You may now disconnect.